15 years ago, I had an idea, and I did nothing with it. Not because I didn't believe in it, not because it wasn't good, but because life gets loud and ideas are quiet. Responsibilities grow, comfort zones harden, and that small voice that once said, "Build this," gets replaced by, "Maybe later." But here's the thing about ideas. They don't disappear. They wait. This idea started in a 6th grade classroom. My teacher wrote a single paragraph on a piece of paper and handed it to the first student in the row. That student wrote the next paragraph, then passed it on, and the next person added to it, and the next. Now, I was strategically positioned in the back row, introvert mode fully activated. I had mastered the perfectly timed cough whenever teachers started looking for volunteers. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But when she read the story aloud at the end, it was magic. Chaotic, unpredictable, completely unstructured, and somehow incredible. None of us could have written that story alone, but together, we created something none of us could have imagined, and that moment stayed with me. Because it wasn't just about writing. It was about collaboration, shared imagination. It was about discovering that creativity expands when you invite other people into it. Somewhere along the way, we stopped doing that. We started protecting our ideas instead of sharing them. As we grew up, we started curating instead of experimenting. We started worrying about being good instead of being curious. Writing's powerful, but writing can also be lonely. And yet, storytelling has always been communal, around campfires, in town squares, across generations. Stories built culture before we had currency, before governments, before the internet. But in the digital age, most platforms are built for one voice broadcasting to many. So I started asking myself a question. What if storytelling didn't have to be the solo act? What if stories could evolve through collective imagination? What if unpredictability wasn't a flaw, but a feature? So, 8 months ago, after spending far too many years letting the idea sit, I finally stopped waiting. And I built Endless Authors. And here's how it works. You can write and publish your own stories just like any other platform. But if you choose to open your story to collaboration, writers from anywhere can submit what they believe should happen next. Then the community votes. The winning continuation becomes part of the official story, and the cycle continues. The story evolves, shaped not by one mind, but by many. It's structured creativity, collaborative authorship, creative democracy. And here's what makes that powerful. When multiple minds build a world, unexpected brilliance happens. Plot twists no single writer would have planned. Characters that evolve organically. Entire universes shaped by collective imagination. But something else happens too. The pressure shifts. You don't have to carry the entire story alone. You get to build it with others. Introverts get a voice. New writers gain confidence. Experienced writers rediscover unpredictability. It's that same 6th grade classroom moment, except now the classroom is the world. This platform isn't about replacing solitary writers. It's about expanding what's possible. Giving introverts in that back row a voice. Turning unfinished drafts into living worlds. Discovering what happens when imagination stops being guarded and starts being shared. The idea didn't wait 15 years because it was weak. It waited because I was afraid. Afraid it wouldn't work. Afraid no one would care. Afraid I wasn't the right person to build it. And I think a lot of us are sitting on something right now. An idea, a story, project, a risk. We tell ourselves we'll start when the timing's perfect. But ideas don't need to be perfect. They need courage. Endless Authors is live now, not because the fear disappeared, but because I decided it didn't get the final vote. And maybe that's the real story here. Not just collaborative storytelling, but collaborative courage. Because when we build together, the risk feels smaller. When we create together, the doubt gets quieter. And when we share unfinished ideas, magic has a chance to happen, just like it did in that 6th grade classroom. So maybe this platform is really an invitation to writers, dreamers, introverts in the back row, to anyone with something inside them waiting to be created. Because the next chapter doesn't write itself. It gets written by someone who decides today is the day. Let's build worlds. Let's surprise ourselves. Let's write something none of us could create alone together.